Welcome back, everybody, to the Yankee and the Brit. I'm Jay, he's Maddie, and we're going to talk NFC and AFC East. And there's a lot of shit going on in the AFC East today.
Yeah, the AFC seems to have turned into what the AFC West was last year. This crazy arms race, everybody making big free agent moves straight away, and they're all doing it in different ways. So yeah, lots and lots of big news coming out of the AFC East.
So let's just start with the elephant in the room before we get to the exact teams of the AFC East. Let's talk some Aaron Rodgers. Let's point out some stuff that has came out today. Once again, Adam Schefter seemingly doing the bidding of the teams and not telling the whole truth when he said all these things about Aaron Rodgers, and it comes up find out today that he's making him wait, he's holding him hostage, he wants a wish list. Finding out that Rodgers told them Friday. That's 3 days before the tampering window started. Now it's on the Packers who are holding it up because they want more draft compensation, but you made it clear with Mark Murphy that you want to move on. You don't have leverage. If I'm the Jets, I'm like, take a third-round pick and go away.
Yeah, like this is just going to get worse for you. If they took the third-round pick at the start of the day, the Packers could have come away from a situation with Aaron Rodgers where they actually looked good in the first time in about 3 years. They could have come away from that situation. Everything could have been done. But because they've been holding out for more and holding out for more, it's like they've let things now. They've let Aaron have a voice in this situation. And the Packers, it's in the Packers' vested interest for Aaron Rodgers not to have a voice in what's going on because that's going to make them look bad. What do they want more than a third? Nobody else is trading for Aaron Rodgers. The seats have been filled.
Well, it was leaked today. There was a couple other teams interested, but Rodgers wasn't like looking to go to those teams, so that takes them out.
Exactly.
But if you're the Packers feel like they have leverage over the Jets because they're like, you don't have a plan B, you have to go with Zach Wilson without Rodgers. But I would argue that the Jets and Rodgers have way more leverage because the Jets can say, this is what we're giving you, take it or leave it. And Rodgers can say, I'm coming to training camp and screwing this whole thing up for Green Bay if you don't get this done.
Yeah, like Aaron Rodgers has all the leverage. He could just retire.
Well, and not even that.
He could just sit.
You make it more difficult if you tell the Packers, if you don't get this trade done, I'm showing up to training camp and you have to either play me or make me a $60 million backup.
Yeah, he could genuinely turn up for the first day, collect his paycheck, and say, "Oh, I'm 39 years old. I've got a bit of a twinge in my shoulder," and then walk away, and then that's it.
And then he's a 69 or $59 million backup, and the Packers look foolish, right? So just take a pick, move on. Well, I don't know why they're still even negotiating this, and they should have had this agreed to before the Jets even talked to Rodgers.
Yeah, 100%. And the Jets could, like, the other thing about this is the Jets are in play for Lamar Jackson. Like, that's the other part of this. It's not like the Jets can't go out and get anybody else.
I think this was just negotiating because it leaked out of the Jets, but they did make a call inquiring about Kirk Cousins and Matt Stafford. So I think that was negotiation against the Packers, and covering their ass in case Rodgers didn't come in. So you feel out and see about everybody. But I think a lot of it was more negotiation than really wanting to trade for either of those two guys.
Yeah, and with the team that they have, they could do something with Baker Mayfield. Like, they could do something with anybody. Like, it's not.
Well, he's now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, but we're not to the South yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But exactly. But there's those pieces on the playing field. I think the Packers take whatever you've been given and just leave now. The other thing is the Jets, if they just want this to go away and just kind of get on with it, which if I was them, I'd want to do that. Looking at their team needs, their team's pretty set now. Like, with a QB, their team is set. So maybe giving that extra pick might not be the worst idea ever. Just have it done.
With their needs, I had quarterback up until they got Rodgers. Now you can scratch that because you legitimately have a viable backup in Zach Wilson too right now. Did you freeze on me, Maddie? I think I lost.
Yeah, I think I've gone. What's going on for the first time?
You're good now if you can hear me.
Yeah, I'm good.
So what I was saying is I had quarterback, but I wiped that off because you have Rodgers now and a viable backup with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean they don't need a quarterback. What some people have said is that Rodgers can train up Zach Wilson and Zach Wilson takes over in 2 years' time, and it's like, no, like that won't happen. Like
I think
that's
it's
not
brilliant.
Rodgers' style.
No, when you draft a guy to replace you, it's not your style. Brett Favre was not going to help Aaron Rodgers. Joe Montana was not going to help Steve Young. But Joe Montana was willing to help anybody who came to Kansas City because he knew it was the end of the road. I think Rodgers, it swoops, and they're already friends, swoops Zach Wilson under his arm and teaches him how to play that position. I do. I really believe that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like this idea of Rodgers taking him aside and going in the film room with Zach Wilson and showing him how to do all of that, I don't personally see, but I don't think it'll harm Zach Wilson standing on the sideline and watching Aaron Rodgers. There'll be a similar kind of gunslinger type of player, right? Something else that I don't understand
I 100%
is this.
disagree with you.
You think they'll be in the film room together working on film?
Yeah, I think that Rodgers is going to a new team. It's not like when young guys come to Green Bay. You have to go and ingratiate yourself with those young dudes. You have to become a team. This is now on Rodgers, and he's smart enough to know that he has to make the adjustment. And him and Zach Wilson are already dudes who like each other, text each other, hung out at golf tournaments. I really do think he's going to try to help him be the best he can absolutely be. Maybe I'm naive. And we can absolutely agree to disagree because I don't think it's crazy. I just legitimately think it's going to go the opposite way. Plus, it's a big fuck you to everybody who talks shit about him.
Yeah, I think he can be good for Zach Wilson, but I just don't see Aaron Rodgers at this point of his career in a system that he's already familiar with being in the film room with Zach Wilson all the time. Like Aaron Rodgers will do his film work and Zach Wilson, I imagine, will be there because they'll be in the same QB room, but I don't see him going above and beyond to help Zach Wilson. That doesn't mean it won't be helpful for Zach Wilson. And this is something that
I think you're just falling into the Florio narrative. Florio makes him sound like the worst person in the world, but while doing it makes himself sound stupid when he makes jokes about, oh, Rodgers is going to go to Colorado because they decriminalize mushrooms. You sound like an idiot. You're not funny, Florio.
Yeah,
but that's all that. I think that's that Rodgers hate narrative. I don't see him as the guy everybody else sees him as. I just don't think that he embraced Jordan Love because he was trying to take his fucking job.
Yeah, I think it's very different to the Jordan Love situation. It'll be helpful and they'll be mates and they'll be there. I just don't see the extra. What people are saying is Zach Wilson needs extra help into being shown how to be professional, and Aaron Rodgers will offer that to an extent. I think I'm not sure it's going to be enough to save Zach Wilson's career in 2 years' time. And with that, people are having a problem with Aaron Rodgers only being at the Jets for 2 years, saying, oh, Aaron Rodgers only has 2 years left. And it's like, right, okay, one, maybe not. If he's playing well and he's protected, maybe not. Maybe he has more years than that. I think it may be the end of the line in 2 years' time. But we'll see. If he's really enjoying life at the Jets, it might not be. But even if it is, this big cap hit that people are worrying about, right, that comes off the, like, they're like, oh, you won't be able to pay. You've done all this hard work to create an amazing young roster with the offensive rookie of the year and the defensive rookie of the year on it. And you're going to take on this massive cap hit, so you won't be able to sign them. If he's only there for 2 years, the cap hit won't be there when they need to sign these players. These players will get their contracts after Rodgers leaves. So that narrative is weird to me as well. This is only a great move for the New York Jets because I'm looking at their roster and I'm not seeing any huge gaps. They've got plenty of draft capital to play with. If I was them, I would be shitting myself until Rodgers puts the pen to paper, just in case the Packers try to make stuff difficult for no reason. But apart from that, it's a solid breakthrough deal.
So after they sign Rodgers, they'll have about $11 million in cap space this year, the Jets. Next year, they have $99 fucking million And I know you got to sign free agents and do different things, but they're not hurting taking on the cap. Do you know what they have coming? Just take one crazy guess on what the cap space is in 2025.
In 2025. Well, I'm going to guess they're not making the mandatory cap room. So 167.
210.
That's a lot to play with.
That's all I'm saying is yes, and that's not counting guys they have to re-sign and re-up. The Jets will be fine with whatever they have to eat. And the Packers eat $30 million of this dead money, which everybody forgets.
Yeah, this makes the Packers look worse than the Jets. This.
Oh, we lost Maddie.
Damn it. What's going on here?
You're back.
What's going on? If Breece Hall is...
Aaron Rodgers is mad at you, so he's might you out.
If Breece Hall comes back from this ACL and is who he was last season, this Jets team are great. Like they're done. And they have a really low-ranking offensive line, which really surprised me. Their PFF rank for offensive line play is really quite low, but that took me by surprise. It could be that that the quarterback affects their pass blocking, right?
I don't know, man. We got to talk about PFF because literally go look at who the 5th-ranked defensive team was at PFF last year.
Right. Who was it?
The Vikings. We're 31st in the league, but they have them ranked 5th.
It's weird that you are 31st in the league, but had 13 wins, though. Like
right. They grade it by individual players, not a defense as a whole, which is really weird because Pat P scored high. Fucking Harrison Smith scored high. Daniil Hunter and Z scored high. So it drives that up. But that defense is nowhere near a top 5.
Yeah, I stand by PFF metrics of doing things like the way that they... Like it just throws up the weirdest situations. Like the way that they do things is solid for me, but it just throws up very, very strange conclusions.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with their individual player grades. It's when they get into other shit, it starts to get really weird. And it's never good when you have Sam Munson grading trades. I mean, TJ Hawkinson was a wash, remember? I got to get my daily Sam Munson shot in. But what are you looking at now for needs for the Jets as they're moving forward? Wow, Maddie's got that Canadian internet going on today. I guess I'll start and hopefully we get him back. I got O-line, safety, D-tackle, linebacker. Some of that is good depth moves. But that's what the Jets should be looking for.
I am not sure what is going on.
You're back again now.
This is so strange. Can
you hear me or do you go out completely too?
No, I go out completely as soon as you go. Oh, right, okay. As soon as I go, it's all gone completely. But we're fine for now.
Well, I was asking you, what do you think the other needs for the Jets are?
Running back to cover for Breece Hall.
Michael Carter.
Yeah, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if they were on the Bijan Robinson trading plug. Like, depending on how Bryce Hall comes back, you have that. Because Michael Carter is not a bell cow back, is he? You need a bigger back than that. Than Michael Carter to be a bell cow, I think.
He did pretty well filling in last year, but I only know that because he was on my fantasy team.
And I think I'm not really sure other than that. Really.
I was thinking more like safety, depth at D tackle, maybe some depth at linebacker. And I don't think they're very deep at O-line. I think they're good at O-line, but I don't think they have much depth.
Yeah, so I think they're much better at O-line than their stats and everything suggest, and the way that they graded and everything suggests. But everybody, if somebody gets, it's when somebody gets injured, they're fucked. So they could do with taking an offensive guard or some sort of swing tackle in the fourth round, like somewhere down there, or maybe actually just take a punt on one pretty high up. Actually, the other aspect of this is Orlando Brown is still on the free agency market. Recently put on there and is still there
because he's asking for fucking 20+ million a year.
Yeah, that you've got to imagine that's going to come down and down and down, and then he gets to pick. He gets to pick where he ends up going.
Yeah, and it's because Kansas City was like, well, we're not matching. We're just going to sign somebody else. Have a good day.
Yeah, which is fair play to Kansas City.
Well, let's talk about some New England Patriots who have $37 million in cap space. I think they need offensive tackle. I did have wide receiver, but they did sign Juju now. They could still use some help because they are always bad at drafting wide receivers. So maybe go get you another free agent. They need help at linebacker, and because of McCourty and different things, defensive back. I know they did make some moves in free agency, but I still think they need more help in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, they've looking at the Pats there. Wide receiver 1 is Devontae Parker, is who they've got listed there with Juju.
I think it's probably Juju, honestly, with talent, and then Parker. You know what I mean? Which is not a good setup. If Parker and Juju were your 2 and your 3, you'd be fucking set.
Yeah. So you've got to think that they're in the market for a wide receiver 1 somewhere. What's interesting is Jacoby Myers has been tweeting out about how hurt he is with this deal. Because he's now getting paid the same as Juju, but is leaving the Pats, and was clearly told that he was leaving the Pats because of his cap hit. But I think that Juju is a better wide receiver than Jacoby Myers.
And I don't know what the deal came in yet because I hadn't seen it yet for Juju, but what's the cap hit on the back end too? That has a lot to do with shit for people. And I agree. I think Juju's more proven, and maybe they trade for D-Hop.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I think they're definitely in the market for D-Hop. Depending on how OBJ's workout goes, they could be in the market for OBJ.
Seem like the guy, because I don't think they're going to give him a multi-year deal worth $20 million a year. I just don't see that being the Patriots' way.
Yeah, I do agree with you, but I also think that OBJ is more moldable to his circumstances than people give him credit for. It's because of the big flashy guy he was in New York.
How quick do OBJ and Belichick bump heads?
I think they'd bump heads, but I think they'd bump heads professionally. That's more.
Yeah, but I'm not saying OBJ's a problem. I'm just saying Belichick's a dick, and there's certain people who can't play for him.
Yeah, I think a big question that they have has to be at quarterback, right? So what are they doing with their quarterback situation in this offseason? Because Mac Jones had problems with him. Now, are they just letting O'Brien take care of Mac Jones? Because if they're just letting that happen, then that's the best way forward for them. For me, looking at their secondary, yeah, they could definitely deal with a little bit of help in the secondary.
The best thing about Bill O'Brien is anybody who's ever been coached by him says, yeah, he's an asshole, but I love that guy.
Yeah,
so he'll coach him hard, but the players like him.
Yeah, and I can see Mac Jones responding well to that. Under Nick Saban, Nick Saban was his.
Yeah.
You can see that going. You can see that going really, really well. And I have full faith in Mac Jones. They need a wide receiver 1, though. That's what they need desperately.
Yep, and they need, like I said, they need some DB help. They're making moves in free agency. They need an offensive tackle. Maybe I don't know what they got cap room. Maybe they go after Orlando. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that would be a good move for them. Orlando Brown at offensive tackle. Orlando Brown offensive
tackle positions.
Yeah. Orlando Brown at offensive tackle takes what, like 20 million in cap?
Well,
20 million cap of the 37.
20 million is what he's going to want a year, but you can finagle that cap. and the fact that the cap's going up 30 million every year, you can eat a little bit more on the back ends without it hurting. So you can set that up where he's a cap hit of like $6 million. You could go down to as low as 1 million if you want to eat all that on the back end with the veteran minimum with bonuses. But it'll be more like, why don't you eat 8 of it this year, push a little bit more to next year, the year after. And if you're signing a guy like that, my guess it's going to end up being like a 5-year deal.
Yeah, and I mean, if you take that and you take that cap hit, that still leaves you with plenty of room to go to the well for a wide receiver. And then they fix the offense in free agency because you can't draft offensive players, and then fix the sort out your defensive depth in the draft. That's how I would do it if I was the Patriots.
And Cole Strange should be better on that offensive line in year 2. Like we said, good player, wrong place to take him. You know what I mean?
The worst process ever.
Yeah.
But they have taken Juju on a 3-year deal. So it's 3 years, $33 million. So $11 million a year, technically. Is a really progressive and positive move for them. Please don't go into the season with Juju as your number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, that's some Belichick shit to do also.
Yeah, take a guy who we all know is a wide receiver 2 and make him your number 1 is the most Patriots way to do things ever.
So let's move on to some Miami Dolphins, who originally I had needing a running back. I no longer have them needing a running back.
Mm-hmm.
They need a tight end. They could use some offensive line help. And they're pretty... See, everybody but me thinks they need linebackers. I think they have good linebackers, but people, like I said, Brian Flores gets really solid dudes who don't have a name for a defense. He has no name linebackers, so that's what's still going on in Miami. But I know a lot of people think they need linebackers, so I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, they need offensive line help.
I got guard and tackle written down.
Yeah, just guard and tackle. It's not necessary. It's not like they have a bad offensive line, which is weird as well. Like Miami are another one of these teams where I think they grade worse than what their offensive line actually is. But again, they need support for if anybody goes down injured, is how I'm looking at it. Tight end is a must. I'd go to the draft for a tight end if I was them in this deep draft class. You could take Dalton Schultz in free agency, but with that Ramsey trade already, maybe not. And then they don't need any help in running back. And I agree with you at linebacker. I'm here for the fuck them picks strategy. You know me. I'm here for the fuck them picks. I'm here for finagle the cap room and make it look ridiculous and take the stars. So I like the Ramsey pickup. It's all dependent on is Tua the guy. And by is Tua the guy, I more mean can Tua stay healthy than can he play in this offense? Because when he was playing and when he was healthy, they were the best offense in the league. They looked unstoppable.
And they just signed Mike White.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to feel confident in going to the Super Bowl under Mike White.
No, but if Tua gets hurt, you can weather the storm, is the point with
still
Mike
going.
White. And with Jalen Ramsey, they just redid his contract. He's not getting any new money. He's just getting more guaranteed money.
Yeah, and I like the Ramsey pick is a win-win for me.
Well, they structured it with a couple void years with a few $1 million on the back end to make it really good for the next couple years too.
Yeah, the Rams needed him off the books. They're just going full rebuild, like all rebuilding around the 3 pillars that they have. Ramsey doesn't fit in those 3 pillars, so they needed him off the books. Miami, great pickup for them. Works really well for everything that they've got going on in that secondary. And looks really great for them going forward. The question about Tua always was, is his accuracy because he's playing with Alabama guys who are open like all the time? They're Alabama open. And it's like, well, yeah, he's got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, which in this offense are always Alabama open. So as long as he makes the same reads and doesn't get his head blown off, then he should be fine.
Yeah. I think Miami will be good this year. I think they'll be a team to watch. I think this division is going to be pretty good this year, but we will head off to the final team of the division in the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills need receiver, running back, cornerback, and middle linebacker, but Poirier is going back, so I can wipe safety off the list.
Yeah, you can add an interior offensive lineman to that as well. This Bills team have a silly amount of holes for a team that's as good as everybody says it is. That they're actually the team that looks the most incomplete in the division. Now, the Patriots, the way that they do things, like they look like a complete roster, but I'm just not like it doesn't look like there's the amount of talent there that can actually help. So we'll see how that works for the Patriots. But the Bills have the most holes in this division going in. Now they do have Josh Allen, who I believe is better than Tua Tagovailoa, better than Mac Jones, not better than Aaron Rodgers. So they've got the second best QB in the division, which covers up a lot of holes. And the way he plays really helps them kind of cover up a lot of holes because of his size and his arm. However, we're starting to come to terms. If you watch the last show, you'll notice he's probably the 7th or 8th best quarterback in the AFC. Like, if you take the AFC, you can make an argument that he's down to 8th or 9th in the AFC.
And I'm not going to beat up on him anymore. Go watch yesterday's episode if you want to hear it. But he just gets a pass for a lot of things any other quarterbacks don't. Doesn't mean that Josh Allen still isn't a stud, because he is, but he does get a pass.
Yeah, Josh Allen is still a top 10, top 15 QB. It's more a comment on the AFC being so loaded. Like, we worked out that the second best QB in the NFC, now that Aaron Rodgers is gone, is either Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins. Baker Mayfield is top 5 in the NFC. Or Matthew Stafford.
Baker's got to go. I like Baker, but Baker's still got to go win that job down in Tampa.
Yeah. It's just
they have Kyle Trask, so they're going to give him a shot. Like,
I'd give Kyle Trask a shot. I liked Kyle Trask as a pickup to Tampa. If you remember doing those draft shows, that was fun. I like Kyle Trask.
He's another statue in the pocket, so it depends what you want. Baker can move.
100%. The wide receiver 2 conversation in Buffalo is interesting. Gabriel Davis, I took him in my fantasy team this year, expecting him to go absolutely fucking wild. Did nothing all year. He had that 133-point game where I put him on the bench. But is he wide receiver 2 material? Probably wide receiver 2 material, yes, but does he play like it? Well, he didn't this year, so they're on the wide receiver market 100%.
Yeah, we'll see what they do, but I think we have the same conversation every year. They need another wide receiver and a running back.
Yeah, they 100% need a running back. Where do they pick? 27. So at the bottom of the first, that is, I don't like taking a running back in the first round, but the bottom of the first, I can kind of take it if it's Buffalo. So Bijan Robinson could be going to Buffalo, not a bad pick for them. Or they could get Addison, might fall to them down there at 27 as well. I don't know why
they're not sitting outside Alexander Madison's house right now, waiting for it to turn 4:00 Eastern time, which it already did, and go in there and talk to him.
Yeah, definitely. Tankathon have them take in Darnell Wright, offensive tackle. But like Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers might fall down there. So they do have that. But I 100% agree with you in terms of Alexander Madison should be number 1 for them, right? Even
you don't have to trade for him. You don't have to trade. Like, you'd have to trade for Derrick Henry. So, like, you don't have to trade for him. Just go get him, pay him, give him $8 million, whatever, a year, and have him come in.
Yeah, but even like an Ezekiel Elliott, depending on what Ezekiel Elliott's taking. So Ezekiel Elliott is taking a huge pay cut this year. He's probably getting what looks like what I think is going to happen. He's going to get released by the Cowboys and then brought back once he's tested the market. What I'm going to look at
there. And I've always stuck up for Zeke, but right now Alexander Madison is far and away a better running back than Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, but I mean, you could have them both is kind of more what I'm saying. Like, you could have both Ezekiel Elliott and Alexander Madison. Ezekiel
I think
Elliott
they
is not
like
going to get
James
paid
Cook.
15 million this year.
I think they
Yeah.
like James Cook as a number 2. So like, and they have Nyheim Hines. So, but I don't understand why we've been saying for no matter who it is, we've been saying for 3 years they need to go get a running back. Everybody, not just you and me, and they don't go get one.
Yeah, and it's been interesting. That happens with a lot of teams. Like the Patriots always need wide receivers. The Baltimore Ravens, they always need wide receivers. The Bengals seem to always need an offensive lineman at some point. Their offensive line is better, but they still need an offensive lineman for cover and things like that. So it's very strange. The Chargers always need offensive linemen, for example.
The Vikings used to always need offensive linemen.
Yeah, the Vikings managed to fix their offensive line, which is pretty impressive.
Finally.
Yeah.
So let's move on to your division, the NFC East. We'll start with the Washington Commanders. So for all intents and purposes, I say they need a quarterback, even though I do really think there's a shot Lamar ends up there. They need a corner and they need some linebacker help. But other than that, I don't see a ton of needs on this team.
Yeah, with the Commanders, it's like they don't have a ton of glaring needs. They just need a general influx of talent and big playmakers. Their number
really
one
good quarterback.
Yeah, their number one need is QB, and they've just brought in Jacoby Brissett. Since we've gone live, I'm pretty sure Jacoby Brissett has become a Patriot.
Now that has become your backup plan, though.
You would hope
that has
so.
to be your backup plan, doesn't it?
I mean, you would hope so, but is Sam Howell not their backup plan? Like, did they not like what they saw from Sam Howell? Is what I'm thinking and looking at.
If they're all late round picks, they take them, hope they hit, and I don't know. Did you see much from Sam Howell that made you think he was any better than Taylor Heineke?
No, not at all. But he beat the Cowboys, and the Commanders will take that as they go. He beat the Cowboys when the Cowboys were playing horribly. Ben Standig is saying Brissett will sign for a 1-year deal. So you have him in there on his 1-year deal, and then you go out and you try and get somebody better. There's no way that in the same way that when the Bucks were saying that Kyle Trask was their guy and that they were happy to start the year with Kyle Trask, there's no way they wanted to start the year with Sam Howell. With Wentz and Heineke both gone, that's exciting.
Yeah, and let's be real. We both liked Taylor Heineke. We like Taylor Heineke. But look at what they did with a guy of Taylor Heineke's talent. And they won decent amount of games with him, and they played well with him. If they had a stud at quarterback, this would be a dangerous-ass team. And that's why I don't know why teams like this are not just backing the Brinks truck up to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, when they had Alex Smith, they looked relatively okay as well.
And that's Alex Smith, who's good but not great, right?
Yeah, Lamar, they won the division. Did they win the division with Alex Smith? They did win the division when everybody in the division had a losing record 4 years ago, I think.
I mean,
so not
they've been trying to replace Kirk Cousins since Kirk Cousins left. Let's just digest that.
If Kirk Cousins was a Commander right now, they would have a decent shot at winning the division, at least.
That's what I want to let people know. Be careful when you want to move on from your quarterback. We can shit. I can take shots at Dak. I can take shots at Kirk, but who the fuck are you going to replace him with? Just always be careful what you wish for, because the Redskins have been trying to replace Kirk Cousins since 5 years ago.
Yeah, 100%. And they, they really need a quarterback. That's their number one need. Maybe a wide receiver too. Who's their wide receiver too right now? Curtis Samuel? Is that?
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. They could probably use it. They could probably use another weapon. They could probably use a running back, like a more stable running back. I think would be good for them. Interesting going forward. Looking at Chase Young, will be interesting. Who has Chase Young? If he didn't come after Joey and Nick Bosa, so Chase Young had better pass rushing grades at Ohio State than Joey and Nick Bosa, and then has come into the NFL and is not doing as well as them. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with that, because they also have Sweat on the defensive line, who is also really good as well. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from there. Obviously, Chase Young got hurt and injured, so that'll be interesting to see where they go.
As much as I hate Ohio State, I really hope Chase Young can stay healthy, because I think that kid can be a monster.
Yeah, I would be interested. Like, I would be interested to see how much it would take to take Chase Young from the Commanders, because I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's a crazy amount of draft capital that you need to give up to get rid of it, to get him. Sorry.
I think it would cost you more than a first.
Yeah. Not much more than a first, though. And he was
I don't know, man. It
second
depends
overall
on
pick.
how, if they think this kid can change life once he's healthy, you don't let a guy like that go. So I guess it just depends if the Redskins look at him the same way you do.
Yeah.
But I get your point. I just thought pass rushers are hard to get.
Yeah. If he can, it's just, I remember when he came into the league thinking, oh shit, that is going to be horrible to play against. And we just haven't seen it yet. The first season was really good, but not great. And then since then he's been hurt. So we'll see where it goes from there. I just think maybe keep an eye out on that. If I'm then, I'm drafting an edge to cover.
I think they love that dude's character too, which always makes it hard
100%.
because I've seen him on the shop and stuff, and he seems like a great young dude. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, cornerback as well. They're drafting at 16, which is a really nice spot to take somebody like Joey Porter Jr. maybe.
Yep.
At 16. Yeah, PFF's big board have him at 16 as well.
So let's talk about a team that's making some fucking moves. The Giants of New York. I had them needing a tight end. They no longer need a tight end. So I feel like they need a wide receiver. A little bit of help on the defense, but that can be done in the draft.
Yeah.
I think their big need is a wide receiver. Otherwise, I think they're looking pretty good because they're rolling with Daniel Jones. People can argue. I know people are going, they need a quarterback. Well, that's not what the Giants think they need.
Yeah, too late now. Like they've made that decision.
Right.
They've made that decision. So it's not a need anymore because they've made the decision.
And
so
tight end was a need, but they just signed a monster in Wooler. So
Darren Waller, yeah.
Yeah.
Great pick. All I've got written in massive capital letters is weapons. Just because you can say they need a wide receiver. If I was them, I'd draft 3, like straight off the bat. Like if I was them, I'd just draft wide receivers, like first round pick, second round pick, and then 4th, 5th round pick, take wide receivers.
I don't even want to see this happen, but they should be signing DJ Chark and different guys out there right now too. Just load up that wide receiver core for Daniel Jones. And people can argue, is Chark a slot? Can he play the outside? Is he a 1? Is he a 2? Is he a 3? You bring this dude on because he stretches the top off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
who you bring DJ Chark on for?
Yeah, he removed the top straight away. I mean, people have them taking Deontay Banks, which is a cornerback, but I'm not sure whether that's a massive need for that. Like, if I'm the Giants, my vested interest this year is making the Daniel Jones deal look as good as fucking possible. And with Brian Vrabel there, you've given that every chance. They've franchise tagged Saquon Barkley, an exclusive franchise tag, sorry. So they've got the rights to the Saquon Barkley straight away. Like, your interest is on making him look as good as possible and draft so many weapons, and they need a running back.
Yes, sir. But I jolly good moves for the Giants. It all boils down worried. To, is Danny Dimes your future?
Yeah, if Danny Dimes is as good as they seem to think he is, and in like if I've got Mike Vrabel as my if I've got him as my coordinator, then if Mike Vrabel is my head coach, then I trust him to have that evaluation down. See, if I'm them, I'm drafting Jackson Smith and Jigba straight away. I'll take I'll take Josh Downs. And then later on, I'd probably take Rasheed Rice if he falls to me in the 4th or the 5th. But that makes a nice wide receiver room straight away if you take all of those guys.
So I agree. And Maddie, before we move on to your Cowboys, I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how long Van Der Esch re-signed for?
2 years.
Okay.
I think.
I'm trying to look it up, but I can't find it. And here it is. Because I want to, this will have something to do with what I'm looking at for.
I've got it right here. 2 years, 11 million.
Okay. So originally with your Cowboys,
that's a great trade.
I had you guys needing corner help and linebacker help to start. You can cross those off because you're covered. I still think you guys need an offensive guard and you could use a D tackle.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Cowboys, that's another. There's 2 positions that the Cowboys have needed to draft for since I've started watching them, and that's D tackle and cornerback 2. And they've shown their inability to draft for cornerback 2 when they took Kelvin Joseph over Asante Samuel. So
and now you got Gilly.
Stop. Exactly. So just stop even looking and give up a 5th round pick for Stephon Gilmore. That, in my opinion, that is a great move. For a 5th round pick, you get seasoned vet at CB2, which we haven't had, a guy who does everything right on the defensive end in that way. He's the total opposite to Trayvon Diggs. He's the total opposite to the way that Trayvon Diggs plays the cornerback position.
Maddie is yin to his yang.
And that's what you want in a pairing. And we have an incredibly young defense. I'm pretty sure it's one of the youngest defenses in the league. And you add Stephon Gilmore to that now, and he brings that experience into the room, which is really nice. Having him in the huddle is going to be great, really important for them. And he teaches Diggs the things that Diggs can't seem to do and figure out by having him there. And the Cowboys have needed a CP2 for so long. It's great. And Shannon Sharp is coming out and saying it doesn't fix the issue that you have. The reason that you lost in the playoffs isn't because of your cornerbacks. It's not because of your defense. It's like, no, of course it's not. That's not what anybody's saying. But like the Giants, we have Dak Prescott. Like if that's what you're citing our issue as being, if our issue is Dak Prescott, all right, we have Dak Prescott. I don't see him as the issue. I feel like, and everybody said, well, he threw 15 interceptions last season. And it's like, yeah, but he's only thrown 65 interceptions in 7 seasons. So if you take that season off, then it's 50 interceptions in 6 seasons. That's nothing.
The problem is that everybody remembers seeing the playoff interception.
Yeah. And everybody remembers the one in overtime against Jacksonville where it comes off Noah Brown's hands and pops up, and he hits him right in the breadbasket, and it pops up.
6 for the win, right?
Yeah, and you just look at it and you just go like, "Fuck, man!" Like Dak Prescott also isn't the issue. Weirdly, like yes, he may be the issue, but I wouldn't say he's 100% the reason that we didn't win. I think we need another wide receiver. Personally, I'm giving wide receivers to fucking everybody. Like in today's NFL, you can never have too many wide receivers. So I'm taking a wide receiver. D tackle is number 1 need, as always. Like our defense is great in pass rush, in run defense. It's not amazing. So let's have another D tackle and let's have some depth on the defensive line. And if Zeke doesn't come back for a much cheaper deal, then I'm probably taking a running back in the later rounds as well. I always think it's worth taking a running back in the 6th or 7th round anyway.
Yes, I agree. But I don't think they have a ton of holes to fill. And then the only one that you didn't touch on that I think is you guys could use to look for an offensive guard.
Yeah, just any help across the offensive line would be much, much, much appreciated. Looking at it like that, just depth to cover injuries on the offensive line. Again, not many holes. The NFC East is a strong division, and we've not even got to the Super Bowl champions yet.
Well, speaking of the team that everybody else in the league is calling daddy this year, the Philadelphia Eagles, I did have running back written down, but that's not a need anymore with Rashad Penny heading over there. So I still think they need help at safety. They need help at corner. And I'm not as worried about their D-line as everybody else is.
Yeah, their D-line is old as shit, but it's successful. And what they lost Hargrave, who has, what was it, 15 sacks on the year? Hargrave had, which is a lot to be losing 15 sacks. But Jordan Davis was injured for a decent amount of the year as well. So Jordan Davis coming into his second year kind of fixes that. They're old as shit, but incredibly effective. Like, yeah, if I'm them, I'm probably taking some people on the defensive line. What they really need is they must be absolutely buzzing that they managed to get Bradbury back. They managed to get Bradbury back on a really nice deal for them as well. Let's have a look.
No, I agree. And I think people are overreacting and they're like, oh, Howie Roseman's going to be drowning. He doesn't know what to do. He's going to lose. He knew this shit was coming, you guys. They planned for this. And I'm trying to look
Bringing back Jason Kelsey is a great move for them. That's like him not retiring is really good. That's a 1 year, $14.25 million deal. James Bradbury comes back on a 3 year, $38 million deal, which includes $20 million in guarantees and a max value of $44 million with incentives. I've heard a lot of stuff about incentives in the past couple of days, and incentives are really fucking difficult to get. Like, most people don't make the incentive, so it's really 38 million.
And if they hit the incentives, you're happy to pay that the next year.
Basically, a lot of the incentives are written as if you win the Super Bowl. Like, that's if you lead the league in interceptions, if you lead the league in sacks, that kind of thing. Losing Darius Slay is a big miss for them. And Darius Slay wants his payday, and that's like fair enough on him. He deserves it. 100%, probably best corner in the league last year. But James Bradbury coming back for them is a big steal.
And everybody, don't forget, they have 2 first-round draft picks.
Yeah, it's just fucking, like, it's just miserable, isn't it? Like, seeing the Eagles good makes me genuinely miserable. Like, it makes me genuinely unhappy. So they have the 10th overall pick, which, I mean, they could take, if the Bears is stupid enough to not take Christian Gonzalez, they could have Christian Gonzalez around there. And then they've got the 30th pick, where they could trade, they could trade back and pick up even more picks if they wanted to just get younger and younger. But that's where I'd attack the defensive line. Whoever's the best defensive lineman left then that's who I'd take if I was them.
And they've shown that they don't have a problem picking up older guys in the middle of the year to give them depth. Like,
yeah,
would if they're winning again in week 10, would Ndamukong Suh come back again for another 8-game run? Maybe.
I would.
7-game run, whatever. Yeah.
If I was in Ndamukong Suh.
So I'm just saying, like, there's dudes that are willing to go back there if they're still winning too, that they don't have to think about at the beginning of the year. And these dudes are going to come in on vet minimum, so they're probably not even going to count as the top 51. You'd get them on the 53 or 52 and 53 line. So with that, I mean, because the salary cap, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, the salary cap only counts your most expensive 51 players. So there's 2 spots that don't count on your salary cap of your 2 cheapest players.
Do we know what's happening with Jalen Carter? Defensive tackle.
They said he bombed his pro day. Somebody said that on line today.
Oh dear. Yeah, I've just seen that.
He's still going in the top 7.
I'm just thinking, like, he could genuinely make it to the Bears though at 9.
No, he couldn't. No, he can't. Like, he's that good. He can't. He literally, honestly, might be the best player in the draft.
Yeah, I agree. I think you'd be stupid not to. I think you'd be stupid not to take him because.
I mean, I'll be completely fucking shocked if he even got to 7. But I don't think there's any way he gets past the Raiders.
Yeah, that's true. Now that the Raiders have got Jimmy G, maybe. the Eagles at 32 could pick up somebody like Will McDonald IV, Miles Murphy. If there's a big tumble, I don't see that happening though. BJ Ojolari might be a good pickup for them. Tuli Tulopayotu. I'm just looking at
What
my
if
own
they
big
love
board that
Jalen
I've been
Carter and
making.
they're willing to bundle some picks to go up and get him from 10?
Yeah,
What
so
if they
that would
call
be
the Raiders
the
and
way to
go,
go.
hey, I got a package for you to move up 3 spots?
Yeah, and then they have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter as their defensive tackles in the middle, which is just terrifying. But yeah, the Eagles are definitely. Howie Roseman has the most fun job in the NFL right now.
And just because I have to, shout out Skull Nation, Byron Murphy, Davenport, come on home. I am so excited about what we've been doing on defense. All right, I'm done. This isn't an NFC North episode.
I also just realized that I said that the Eagles were the Super Bowl champs, but
you said
they
no.
weren't.
I didn't correct you. You said we didn't even get to the Super Bowl championship yet. So you're right. They were in the championship, so I did not correct you. Yes.
It's like, all right, I'm giving you guys way too much credit that you don't deserve because you didn't win. So there you go. But yeah, the Eagles are in a really fun position. The NFC North is stacked this year, man. Like and they're already solid teams. It's not like when you look at the other division. It's not like when you look at the AFC West and you see Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, who else is over there? Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo now. Like you look at them and then you see the weapons that they have over there and you go, oh shit, like all these flashy toys and stuff. The Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, and Giants have solid built teams where there's very, very few holes. And they can just all 4 of them, if I was them, the Giants, I'd go for weapons 100%. But the rest of them, it's almost pick the best player available in the draft. Like by the time they get to the draft, they'll be picking the best player available.
Yep, Cowboys release Zeke, but especially when the Commanders get Lamar. Oh, and one more thing. Did you see the Ravens are the weirdest fucking team, dude? So not only did they put that non-exclusive on Lamar where they can match, the tender they put on Snoop Huntley was a match tender too, not the like they'd have to give up a draft pick tender.
Yeah. They're ridiculous. The Commanders going for Lamar Jackson, they just really fucking should. Like, it just makes so much sense. It makes so much sense from an entertainment in a shitty organization entertaining their fans for the first time in probably 5 years. Take Lamar Jackson.
The Panthers
and then actually winning.
The Panthers just paid Hayden Hurst $21 million, almost $22 million for 3.
Yeah, that seems like a lot. That seems like a lot. So who have we got? Who have we got left? Orlando Brown.
They got $13 million guaranteed in that, and I know people are going to go, Josh Oliver, the blocking tight end, signed the same deal with the Vikings. No, he didn't. It's pretty much a 1 year, $3 million deal.
Yeah. The biggest outliers for me is Orlando Brown is still sat out there on the free agent market.
And
that makes me think
all the receivers.
Yeah. That makes me think the way that Orlando Brown's shit happened, that makes me think that Kansas City might have blindsided him and done him a bit dirty. And now he
refused the franchise tag, so they didn't even use it on him.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, actually, that's nice of them, I guess. Chancey Gardner-Johnson is still out there at safety. So the Eagles haven't yet to work out a deal with him. Isaac Seumalo, the offensive lineman. Yeah. Oh my God, I would take Isaac Seumalo at the Cowboys any day.
The only guy I'm waiting on in the draft, and in the free agency, and I'm sure it'll happen, the Vikings better re-sign Duke Shelley. That's all I give a shit anymore.
Yeah, the Cowboys taking Donovan. Oh, that was something I was really, really happy about last night. The Cowboys taking Donovan Wilson was just the best. That just made me feel so fucking good. Like, our secondary is actually pretty nice now. Pretty stacked. You've got Jadeveon Clowney still out there. Dalton Schultz is still out there. Rocky Sin, the Raiders cornerback, is still out there.
Rocky Sin, yeah.
Yeah, Yannick Ngakoue is still there from the Colts. Miles Sanders, if you need a running back, still out there. DJ Chark, like it's crazy that nobody's gone out and picked up DJ Chark.
They must be wanting a ton of money right now. You know what I mean? And got to wait for that market to settle and them to come off what they're asking at first. Is my
Yeah,
guess.
must be. Yeah, must be. But it's the fact that none of the other wide receivers outside Alan Lazard and Juju have been picked up as well, which is strange. And we need to see what's happening with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes, sir. It's still a lot to go. The third wave of free agency hasn't even hit yet. We're in the middle of the second wave, so we're still going to see a lot of shit go down. And trades will keep happening up until the draft. They'll just be smaller trades the more money people spend.
Yeah. And we're halfway through reviewing the team needs for all of the teams in the NFL.
Well, look at us.
Yeah. And we've been getting actual views on these shows as well. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Hit that like and subscribe. Hit the notification so you don't miss us. And stay tuned because we'll be coming back with some more.
Yeah.
How exciting. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.